All right, come join Kyle, John, and David as they go through what's on the playlist. Find out what's everyone's favourite at Chicken Soup for the Soul Entertainment. We have a few segments, to be honest. In and out points, no celebs and the gossip. Back in time where we're talking about the big M's, coming attractions, what the cue. Quick checks, who'll be laughing? You abundantly. Welcome to Dual Redundancy.
Yes, it is Dual Redundancy, the only podcast where you hear all latest in television and entertainment news. Too many else with exactly the same opinions. I'm one of those hosts, David Allen, and another one is
John Berwick, and a third one is
Kyle Bridger. I would say that I am the cocaine bear to John's Indiana Jones. Today's Super Mario.
Wahoo! Already,
you ready to step ahead?
We have so many better impressions than the actual voice actor of the Super Mario's Brothers movie. At least according to me. John, how are we doing?
We're miles ahead, and I have plenty to say on that one.
Oh, we'll get to it, that's for sure. We're going to be talking about all three of those trailers. Plus, I believe we have 6 quick checks to talk about. We have so much to do. We're kind of catching up on everything from November. You know, we were kind of off for a few weeks. We did our holiday special. Thanksgiving was in there. So we're kind of just catching up on all the movies and TV entertainment from the past month before we close out 2022 in our final 2 shows after this. But we have this first segment. We got to get right to it. John, what is it?
In and out points.
Yes, it is in and out points. Let's look over the box office. Over Thanksgiving, Netflix released Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery, for 1 week in about 600 theaters as a special stunt before it is widely available on Netflix on December 23rd. So how did it all work out? This little test, this little stunt. Well, Netflix and theaters are declining to report numbers. I mean, just because they're not officially, in the theater business, Netflix. But sources speculate that it earned $13 million over the extended Thanksgiving weekend and about $15 million total during the entire 1 week showing. Technically, that would make it the third, the third film on the box office list, right behind Black Panther 2 with $65 million, and Strange World with $18.5 million. However, the big caveat here is those films were in 4,000 theaters. If you look at the per theater average, it earned around $13,000 per screen. Black Panther made $10,000 per screen, and Strange World made $3,000 per screen. So it might have been the number 1 movie if they did it in more theaters here. We're going to break it all down, but what do you think about those numbers, Kyle? Did you see it in theaters? Did you want to see it in theaters?
No, I don't think I was gonna. No, I wasn't gonna go see it in theaters. I'll wait till it comes out on Netflix, especially for something like this that I don't think is like I don't know, cinematic masterpiece. Like I'm not needing the big spectacle of it, So
Ryan Johnson knows what he's doing in movie making.
Yeah, I'm not saying story wise and all that, but I'm just saying this isn't like Top Gun. Like I'm not flying in a fighter jet. You know what I mean?
You don't know? Have you seen Glass Onion?
I mean, I don't know, but I'll just wait till Netflix till it comes out on Netflix. But I mean, you got to be. Do you think any of that was influenced by the fact that people thought, "Oh, I'm only going to be able to see it in 1 week, so I got to watch it now"?
I definitely think there's a little bit to that. It's like one of those things, like, is it the chicken or the egg? Like, we won't ever know with this one-off experiment here if it was just because it was 1 week only. You gotta come. Like, I would have seen it in theaters if it was another week besides Thanksgiving week. When it comes out on, I think it was, I don't know, the Tuesday or Wednesday of Thanksgiving. Well, I'm traveling, and then you got Thanksgiving, and then you're traveling back, and then okay, well, now it's out. It's like, there's just not enough time to see. I would have gone. It would have been a fun a murder mystery, big screen, with the audience, with the surprises and the reveals and all that stuff. But I don't know. Theater chains want more of it. The director wants a re-release, but Netflix is holding firm.
Wow.
They're saying nope, 1 week. As of this recording, 1 week only. You have to wait now till December 23rd to see it on Netflix. Are they leaving money on the table, John?
Yeah. I mean, look at Morbius. They re-released that, and it got a ton of more views. I mean, how could you not in this economy? No,
By
yes,
tons, you mean dozens, but yes.
Yeah, at best, yeah. No, I do think that they're missing out. I mean, based on the numbers you said, it sounds like it had a pretty strong viewing of that weekend. Why not make it 2 weeks? Why not make it 3 weeks? Give people a little extra time to go see it. Like you said, it's a holiday weekend. People are traveling. Nobody's home. Like,
Yeah.
there's always time to watch on Netflix later. Let those who want to see it that maybe have some scheduling conflicts get a chance to see it.
Yeah, Peacock has done the day and date release, and some of their films have done well in theaters at the same time. Same with the HBO Max thing, as during the pandemic with a movie like Dune or something like that. But yeah, they bought the rights to this a few years ago to make 2 sequels, and those 2 sequels, this whole big deal was about 460 million dollars. That was what it cost for these 2 movies to be made. Now, the original movie made over $300 million at the box office right before the start of the pandemic in the fall of 2019. Now, are they going to be able, to get the subs that are worth $450 million with this one thing here? I mean, that's the plan. That's the reason why they're not putting it in theaters for the longest time. They want people to sign up for Netflix to give them the subscription money because they got a Knives Out movie. They got Stranger Things 5. It's like, we got to entice the people. I don't know if $450 million worth of people are going to join just for this movie. I think those people are already on Netflix.
Yeah.
Like, this is like, I saw that like Disney Plus was doing Dancing with the Stars on Disney Plus only now. It's not on ABC linear, it's Disney Plus only. That kind of made sense because that leans towards an older demographic, not the demographic that's watching, I don't know, Toy Story, the kids that are watching whatever, Encanto or even Star Wars and Marvel. Like, it's a different audience. So it's like, yeah, you want to get that demo in to get new people in. This is like the same. This is me. I already have Netflix.
Yeah. Could it be anything with like streaming, or like they might give their rights to, I don't know, cable or something like that? Is that any money in that, Luke?
I mean,
like
it could be, but yeah, I feel like the money that they could have made was in theaters. They're
in
leaving
theaters,
at least. I mean, if the original made 300 million, I think there's a lot more like hype for this as a sequel. People are excited to see this. There's been a dearth of releases. They're looking to spend their money and to go in the theater. There's at least 100, 200, 300 million just sitting there. And it's like, well, that could pay back what you pretty much bought 2 films for, and then put the third film as a exclusive on Netflix.
So why do you think they don't want to change their model?
I think they just
They're
want their subs.
old.
It's just they want their subs. It's just it's like the Wall Street thing where every quarter they're like, oh, we're down 200,000 subs, and then it's like, boom, their stock just crashes. It's like they have to have a positive sub thing. Oh, we gained 1 million subscribers this quarter. Oh, okay.
See,
Like it has to constantly keep going up, or if it has one missed quarter, which it had this year, their stock tumbled because of one missed quarter.
But then
could you not buy a hard copy of Glass Onion, or will it just exclusively live on Netflix?
That's another question. I think at least in the beginning of their original series, I believe they had House of Cards released on physical media. I think The Irishman was released on physical media. It might have been like the Criterion Collection or something. But I mean, I would think Ryan Johnson, the guy who really wanted this to be in theaters, probably also wants hard copies and commentary and, you know, special features. Like, I'm sure he wants to do it because he's a classic movie guy, but I don't know. I'll be waiting to see. I'm bummed I missed it in theaters in those 6-7 days, but I'm sure we'll talk about it once we do end up seeing it later on in
Now you'll
December.
just have to watch it on your couch like
Yeah.
the rest of us.
The way they want, like, the way Ryan Johnson intended
Yes.
on my Game Boy Color. All right. Well, I mentioned it's a bit of a dry spot right now when it comes to wide releases. I mean, we got a week or two before Avatar 2. I mean, they're even re-releasing Top Gun Maverick this month. That's how slow the theaters are.
Wow.
Well, AMC Theaters has some screens available now to show. What are they going to show? Zoom meetings. Beginning sometime in 2023, at least 17 AMC venues across the United States will work with Zoom to facilitate conference calls between small, medium, and large-sized groups in different locations.
See, when I first saw this, I was like, oh, that's dumb. But thinking twice on it, this is not a bad idea. Think of how many places don't have an office space anymore, a shared office space. Everyone's working from home. And you want to have a group Zoom meeting for company-wide announcements where you can say, take the Zoom meeting at home or social distance at the theater the next town over. Not too bad of an idea. I don't think that's crazy. I don't know if it's going to take a lot of traction, but the thought behind it, I think,
you would
is
at least
sound.
be able to see everyone on the Zoom screen. I mean, half the time now it's like
Yeah.
4, 5, 6 people on your laptop.
Or
This you should be able to fit. I mean, if you go in an IMAX, you could be fitting 1,000 people on that screen there.
I don't know. I think
So-
it's interesting.
So AMC now becomes like conference meeting
I guess
company,
so.
basically.
That's what the C in AMC was going to be standing for, conference call.
Think of how many companies rent out like a meeting hall to do state of the department or whatever addresses and all that. You could easily do that via Zoom like this and say, hey, meet here if you want or take it from home. I don't know.
Yeah. At the very least, you could, get some popcorn and soda during the
There you
meeting.
go.
Like, they are actually going to allow for additional services like food and beverage in this. Well, because again, we know that's how movie theaters make their money.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I first heard this, I was like, am I reading this right? Like, maybe it's like some kind of like, oh, you can watch Avatar 2 with your family across the country or something. It's like, nope, that's not what this is. It's literally, companies with, decentralized workforces and customer bases, they can all meet for cohesive virtual and in-person events. And
what a fall from grace. If you're the executives, you got to be like, remember what we were doing at one point? Now we're trying to get, Farmer Joe or whatever, the local dude.
Is it that, or is it hype that they're like still surviving by, they have an action plan, they're going for it, like who knows?
Sure.
I just remember, like, again, we talked about Netflix. Now Netflix is like, no, you're not getting our movies. Like a year or two ago, like the theaters were like, no, Netflix, we don't want your movies. We can't do it. And it's like, well, we'll do Zoom. We'll sell popcorn on the street. We'll do anything we can to make money.
To not have Netflix here, yeah.
But I just, what's going to annoy the hell out of me is like, okay, so with Zoom meetings, you always have like the 1 or 2 people that do not turn their mics off. So you hear someone coughing or, someone, just doing like laundry or dishes like in the background.
Yeah.
So now just imagine that in surround sound. Like, in 3D, you're going to hit the 3D IMAX surround sound. Oh my God. No thanks.
Man.
No thanks. But all right. The theaters need something. And Avatar 2 cannot come quick enough. We're just less than 2 weeks away from Avatar, The Way of Water. And while theaters are hoping for big numbers, so is the Avatar 2 team, because according to the director, James Cameron, the film is so expensive, it must become the 4th or 5th highest grossing film in history just to break even.
What is he doing? What is he doing?
Spending money.
But on what?
The
blue is not cheap. If they went with a different color, it might have worked. But
well, I mean, they've been shooting this thing forever.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I can't even imagine. Just
they,
by
they have to pay all their roto artists to roto the blue avatars on their blue screens that they're filming against. That's what it is.
Underwater.
Underwater, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm trying to do the math on this because, we're trying to get what is the actual budget though. Like I've been seeing reports that the budget could be like around 250 million, which is weird because well, wait a minute. The normal practice of figuring out like what you need to break even is like you want to at least double your budget because most movie theaters take at least 50%. But I guess we also have to maybe figure in like what's the marketing cost. Like I don't know if that's included in this reported 250 million. But when you ask James Cameron, like give me a number, how much did this cost? And GQ did that. And all he said was it's very effing expensive. And then he also said, quote, it's the worst business case in movie history.
Who signed off on this? How?
You saw I think I sent this article to you where he's in a meeting on the Fox lot and he's, somebody's like, oh, you got to make Avatar 2 shorter. He's like, you know where we are? Titanic built this building. Like,
I know. And I get that his stuff has been hit, but at a certain point, reason has to like overrule. No, like
I think maybe they just gave him a blank check and said, "Here you go." Because my thinking when I see this is, it really doesn't need to get this huge because they've already got it's going to be what 2, 3, 4 of these movies, and they've already got like theme parks being built on it, or like that whole background with it. So it doesn't need to, I think, make that much because they're going to make so much money on the back end with all that stuff too.
How many years has it been since the last one? 12?
It's been
2009
forever.
was when it was.
Oh
I believe.
let
me just double
check. So 13 years. But how has the technology not accelerated fast enough to make it cheaper to make something on this budget and this scale? Like all the math equations are just coming up. Why? Like,
but I mean, have you seen the graphics lately in some shows? I mean, it does still cost a pretty penny, and
some of them are getting worse. We talked about like those Marvel shows because I think they're being overworked here. Looking at, so if we actually break down Cameron's exact quote saying it needs to, be the 4th or 5th highest grossing film in history. Well, it would need to surpass films like Star Wars, The Force Awakens, and Avengers Infinity War, which was that 2 billion. So that's where we're getting the 2 billion number here. And if we look at some recent films since the pandemic here, Spider-Man No Way Home made 1.9 billion. Top Gun Maverick made 1.4 billion. So these films are close, but again, like they're not getting 2 billion. If you look at the original Avatar, this is unadjusted for inflation, I believe. That film made 750 million domestic, but then it did just under 2 billion internationally alone. So that's the key here. And I believe because there's been a lot of films not being released in China, which gets a lot of money. I believe this film was granted Avatar 2 to be released in China. So they'll make some money there. But we'll see if it can make 2 billion.
Yeah, and with that said, with everything going for like a global audience, I wouldn't be surprised if the story is just as bland as the first one to appease this global crowd. You know what I mean? Especially if you
got to play to everyone.
Yeah. I bet, who knows, but the very thing that people were concerned about with the first one could be the problem again. It wasn't the graphics that I think people were. Yeah, I don't think people were. I think people were wowed by the graphics and all that stuff.
Yeah, well, this is all not stopping Cameron from dreaming of Avatar sequels. He has plans through Avatar 7. 4 and 5 are said to be filming now. Avatar 3 is up for a 2024 release. But after Avatar 4 and 5, that may be it for Cameron. He's going to have to train somebody else for 6 and 7. He says he only has about 5 or 6 more movies in him before he retires. No offense, but that's a pretty bold claim for a guy who's about 68 now and has only released 3 films since 1997. He has 5 or 6 more films in him, and it takes him about, I don't know, was that
15
25 years to do
Yeah.
3 films?
You gotta get off the train before it crashes, man, while it's still making them money, you know?
That
Alright.
is wild, dude. But why so many? It gets to be like after the 8th Home Alone, what happened to the original? You know what I mean?
It's just wild, like, to devote your life to Avatar. Like, does
Yeah.
anyone really care? Like, but I guess $2 billion and stuff will,
Yeah.
but all right. Our last in and out point kind of involves Avatar video game stuff here. The inventor of the Oculus Rift says he's created a VR headset that will blow people's minds, literally. Palmer Luckey has built a custom VR set or VR headset here. He claims will kill the user in real life if they die in the video game. The device is based on the popular anime and novel series Sword Art Online, where players are trapped in an immersive VR combat simulator. If the user triggers an appropriate game over screen, the custom-built VR headset is rigged with charges that will explode, effectively destroying their brain.
No, I don't believe this.
Is
I
this
don't
what
believe this
happens?
for a second.
This is what happens when like Zuckerberg buys your product and just like ruins VR. Is like you need something like higher stakes that'll get rid of you if you fail. Like I don't know.
He'll just chop off your legs. He can't. He's still figuring that out.
But I mean, is it like the ultimate game for your cell? I don't.
Yeah, the
I-
ultimate Hunger Games, I guess. Like it's
Why would you ever even consider
no.
doing this?
There's no chance I would even put that thing on
Unless
my
it's
head.
unless it's some like Squid Game. It's the next Squid Game.
yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah, it's the next Saw movie. Is more like
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, so the inventor said while he has figured out how to make the headset kill the user, solving the perfect VR half of the equation is still many years out. And of course, this is not available for sale. Of course. And I also like how the article points out that he has not tried on the headset himself. It's like, well, yeah, because
No.
two things here. Because if he did try it out and it worked, well, he's not here. But also, if he did try it out and it didn't work, well, then there's no story. There's no product. So, like,
I just had this funny image of like it glitching, and he actually like pre-blows him up before the game over sign,
How
and
many
then it's like, oh, we're still working out the bugs,
Yeah.
and my head it is explode.
how many times have like anybody been playing a game? I mean, it happens to me a lot where like something dumb happens and it glitches out. Like you're saying,
Yeah.
like you fall through geometry or
Yeah.
some errant thing,
That's
like your
it, you're
character
done.
trips over and you die, like, you know, because it's
Yep.
like real time physics. Like,
can you imagine you put it on and then you take like 1 or 2 steps, and it's like dun, 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 and it's just like over. It's just like you just fall off the cliff, and it's like, well, that was worth it, huh?
It'd be like the Segway guy all over again.
Well, I don't know what that this terrifies me. This is real life Black Mirror. No thanks.
Yeah.
No thanks.
Yeah, no.
I think it's time to go in some of these trailers. We have 3 of them tonight, one of which is about a video game character. In order to talk about them, play the clip, John.
Here are some exciting coming attractions.
All right, we're going to start off with the Super Mario Brothers movie. We talked about the casting way back when in an out point, but now we can hear how the performances are. Just to run through some of the names here. We have Chris Pratt playing Mario, Anya Taylor-Joy as Princess Peach, Charlie Day as Luigi, Jack Black as Bowser, Keegan-Michael Key as Toad, Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong, and Fred Armisen as Cranky Kong. We've seen the trailer. That's all we're basing this off of. John, your thoughts on the trailer?
Oh man, I don't know. I still can't believe they delayed the movie and Chris Pratt was working on his special voice. Wahoo, that's not it. Well, guess what? Wahoo is it. It's just him. It's just him. It's just him. That's it. It's Wahoo. That's all. Like, I don't know. That really didn't sell anything for me. I was not impressed with that. But I had read and allegedly Day in an interview had talked about how none of them know the plot of the movie. They're like obfuscating, like the directors and all that, and so they're voice acting lines several times in different inflections, and they're picking and choosing the right ones. So not only can Chris Pratt not do like an actual voice, but he might not even know what he's reacting to or how he's supposed to like do any of this. So there's like so many things that are stacked against these guys. Like I don't get it.
Inception. Like this is
It's the Mario movie. What?
Stop thinking this is like a Chris Nolan, secretive project here. This is like
the trailer
an animated
came
kids
out.
movie.
We know what happens. The trailer comes out. Bowser invades. Mario saves the day. Ooh, we're done. Like, what else could there be? Oh, I don't get it sometimes.
Word Ducky in the chat just gave us Wahoo. That sounds just by reading it, I got more energy than the Chris Pratt one. That's the issue for me. We'll talk about some of the other voice actors in a second, but it's his normal voice. It's the Emmett from Lego Movie voice, and at points it becomes Italian when there's like a catchphrase he has to say, but it's very low energy. And like in the teaser trailer where we had Mushroom Kingdom, here I come.
Yeah.
Like, give me something. Like, come on, man.
I think
you're getting paid millions of dollars for that.
Yeah. For that first teaser they sent out, I forget what language it was, but like I think it was in Spanish. Whoever was
French.
doing it,
we're Ducky saying
maybe,
the French.
Maybe
Mario
it was the
superior.
French one, but whoever did it in French with an Italian accent. It sounded great. Whoever was doing that voiceover was like, why is that guy not doing American, like, English Mario? Like, oh man, I was just, and then suspiciously absent, no Donkey Kong voice in this one, even though he was in the trailer. Why is it? Because it's just Seth Rogen going, like, why is there no, like, I don't know. My hopes went from to pretty quick after seeing that last trailer.
Well, I agree. I think the voice overs overall, there's something off about them. Energy, just like the matching of the character with the voice, for some doesn't do it for me. So I'm right on board with you guys with it. There's just something off about it. I know you joked about it, John, but I have literally no idea what's happening just because it looked like a bunch of like patchwork cool moments, which I am excited about. Like I like the idea of them driving on with the Mario Kart on that road, like that
Rainbow Road. Yeah,
I know. Like that.
When I saw that, I'm like, okay, like this might be really cool. Where we're going into all the different worlds and maybe into all the different games. If we're gonna jump into Mario Kart, are we gonna get more? We're gonna get Mario Tennis. We're gonna get Luigi's Haunted Mansion in here. Like
there is a lot of references. I mean, obviously, when he's fighting Donkey Kong, that's the original Super Mario Brothers Donkey Kong level that they pan out to show. They show Rainbow Road. They showed a whole bunch of other stuff. So yes, the references are great. It looks like the team doing the actual production is doing a really good job. It's just why these voice actors? And I do want to say Jack Black doing a great job. Everything I've heard from him,
I liked him.
That's
fantastic.
what I was.
And Days only had a couple lines, but from what I heard from him, it sounds pretty good too. But
those are the two I had as good, and I thought like the rest were I mean, we didn't get to hear everyone in the cast, but Chris Pratt we have already talked about. Yikes! But even like Anya Taylor-Joy, I thought that was kind of weak, and it's like we got to stop just like casting like just names for these roles. Back in the day, why couldn't we get the voice of Mario that does it for the games and all stuff? No kid is going to be sitting at home. It's like, oh, I got to see this movie now because Chris Pratt is behind the voice. They don't even know. When I was a kid, I had no idea who voiced half these people.
Yeah, but the thing is now everything has a name attached to it. So they're not doing it for the good voice acting. They're doing it for, hey, Charlie Day, and
it just is like dumb because it's like the name is already there. It's Mario. Like that's your IP. If it was like a Pixar movie that was like we'd never heard of this character before, it's like, oh, maybe you need a little oomph. But it's but it's
it's like the Disney movie versus in the theaters situation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like they're trying
Yeah.
to attach people to it to make others go to the theater because it's like, oh, I heard Chris Pratt. Oh,
But-
maybe I wouldn't check out the Mario Brothers movie, but I'll check it out if Chris Pratt is Mario. I don't know.
Is there anybody who is like, oh, I don't want to see Mario, but I do want to see Chris Pratt? You know what I mean? Like Mario's such
Yeah.
a big name. It's like
Yeah.
you're gonna go see. I mean, I know they don't make Mickey Mouse movies, but you're gonna go see Mickey Mouse, but only if he's voiced by somebody. Like, no,
Yeah,
it's
I
it's
don't know.
wild.
it's a flagship
weird.
movie for Nintendo. It's
Yeah.
literally their like biggest movie they've
Yeah.
done.
Trust me, I agree completely with you guys. That's the only thing that I can think of.
Yeah.
Is that they want Charlie Day and Chris Pratt and all these people on a press tour together
Yeah.
in those press junkets. And, in the press junket, it's not clear that, Charlie Day and Chris Pratt never met each other
Yep.
for this movie
Yeah.
at
Probably
any
not.
point, or anything like that. So,
Wahoo. All right. Well, let's talk about another trailer here. This one has a little bit more energy, I think, because it's Cocaine Bear. It's going to drop February 24th of next year. It's inspired by the true story from 1985 about an American black bear that, after ingesting a duffel bag full of cocaine, goes on a murderous rampage in a small Georgia town. All right, so this is wild. All right. I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. Cocaine Bear. Kyle, are
Cocaine
you
Bear.
excited?
I mean, just by the name alone, I am excited because like those two things together. I'm immediately intrigued.
You're intrigued.
What happened here? What?
I think if you put cocaine in front of any movie title, it's like, oh, what is it? Well,
Yeah.
this might be interesting.
But yeah, there's something about it that just you're immediately, I think you're in. And
Yeah.
but then after seeing the trailer, I'm confused. I don't know what's happening, but it looks like this bear is like killing people. I couldn't get the tone of this.
He's going
thing. It
on
was
a
just like,
murderous
I don't know,
rampage.
it's weird.
I have a feeling. So I think this movie knows what it is. I think it's a 90-minute movie. It's a B. It looks like it's like a B movie where it's like,
Yeah.
you know, you may need to be on something yourself to enjoy the movie. But you got the over the top like comedy mixed with probably the over the top horror. I think it's
Yeah,
gonna be like just
maybe.
like a fun like
Like a campy thing.
Yeah,
like,
campy film.
Yeah.
It's directed by Elizabeth Banks. It's produced by Phil Lord and Chris Miller, which I obviously
Okay.
love from Lego Movie,
Yeah.
After Party, all their stuff that they do, Jump Street. But then you look at the cast. The cast is also like wild. There's a lot of people in this movie. Ray Liotta's in this
I
movie.
know. I was like,
Uh,
Ray
And then
Liotta.
there's three that jump out to me. I think two of which we see in the trailer. The other one I saw on Wikipedia here. We have Kerry Russell, character
Yeah.
actress Margot Martindale,
Yeah.
and Matthew Reese. We got the Americans
Wow,
reunion
we
here.
got him back.
I can't wait now for the sequel. The sequel, here we go. It's like the Godzilla versus Kong. Cocaine Bear versus Male Robot. The robot that went the halls of the FBI, whatever there.
Oh wow. Yeah.
That could be something for the sequel. But
Yep.
yeah, this is I'll check it out. I don't know if this will be a theater movie. It's like a February movie release. It's like, ugh.
I mean, isn't it pretty weak in
Well, yeah,
February?
but that's the thing. Like,
That's-
usually the February is a dumping ground. And
Yeah.
I know
So
know
why
this is-
not? So
I
why
know
not
this is
go to
campy.
the wildest dumping
but
ground?
this might
there
be
is,
this
Cocaine
might be a
Bear.
streaming one
Oh.
to be at home with the Cocaine Bear. But
So I got their marketing campaign.
yeah.
You fill a duffel bag full of cocaine and you give it to a bear. Boom, real life cocaine bear.
Well, I mean, there already was a real life Cocaine
Yeah.
Bear.
I know. We're bringing it back.
Oh, okay.
Well,
2023.
you gotta have material for the sequel.
Exactly. Yeah. Cocaine, like another animal. You just give it to another one for the next sequel. But
That would be a good question. Which animal would you least like to see on cocaine?
I mean, a
Oh,
bear is definitely up there.
a bear or a tiger or like
Tiger, a lion, any
Yeah.
kind of
maybe like a
Predator
rhino
like
or a
cat,
hippo.
a big cat that you got to worry about their talons.
Universal
Oh my God.
needs to combine this franchise with Jurassic World and get
God.
cocaine dinosaurs.
Cocaine raptors. Yeah, there we go.
All right. Well, our next film, I don't think there's any kind of cocaine or any bears in this film. It's Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. That's the title of the 5th Indiana Jones movie. It's going to drop June 30th of next year. It's set in 1969 against the backdrop of the space race. There's also some Nazis in there as well. So we got some aliens, we got some Nazis, we got Indiana Jones. John, are you excited for this 5th film?
I want to be. Watching the trailer, it looked interesting. I'm kind of into it. I really don't like that the 4th one was aliens. They broke up the trilogy for aliens. Is this just like trying to save face? Are they going to expand on the aliens? Is it actually aliens? I mean, they quoted in the trailer like, I don't believe in magic, but you find out what you really believe in or whatever. And it's like, does that mean there's magic or aliens or
what
like
is he doing here?
Yeah, are you like tempering us for like, oh yeah, we're going supernatural? Like, that's not what I want out of Indiana Jones. The allure of Indiana Jones was like the idea that you could actually, do everything he was doing and, be a slinging whips around and stuff. And now you're going to tell me that, oh yeah, well, there's actually aliens. Sorry. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's the issue. I also had like most people with the 4th one where it became so much about aliens and stuff like that. And maybe it's like one of those things where because like of the time period that movie was set in, like that was the thing of the moment was like the whole kind of aliens. And now in the 60s here with the space race, so I'm guessing that they're aliens here.
Yeah.
But what I want to talk about a little bit with this with Kyle specifically, because this is the first one without Spielberg at the helm. We have all the beats of it in here. You got the slowed down theme song coming in triumphantly, the lens flares, the nostalgia, all this stuff is there of Spielberg. But this is actually directed by James Mangold, who did Ford v Ferrari, but also Logan, which I believe Kyle liked the Wolverine film Logan here. So are you excited that James Mangold has the keys to the franchise for this one?
So I'm going to admit something. I don't know much about Indiana Jones. I have not seen much of Indiana Jones. So I would be interested. I thought the trailer for this kind of interested me in it because Indiana Jones, I'm like, hit or miss. I've never really been drawn to it, but this one the trailer was good. I was down with it. And they put the joke in there of the whip with the guys pulling out the guns and everything.
Yeah, a little bit like I think a callback to the original where it's kind of like it's flip at least where it's like you got the famous Raiders guy with the sword and then Indiana just does the shot there.
Yeah, it's funny because none of them followed him when he ducked. They all just shot where he was. Like, is everybody that bad of a shot? Like, yes, it was a nice callback. Or reversal.
And it seems like there's going to be some more callbacks because we're going to get a de-aged Harrison Ford.
Yeah,
we saw a little bit that in there.
I thought if you're putting the de-aged in the trailer, you're trying to show it off because I thought it was really good.
Yeah.
And I think that they were trying to show it off because, with how graphics are, we already talked about the CGI recently has been terrible. And I thought, man, if they're willing to like show it off this much, it must be really, really good. And it did look good. I mean, you could tell, but it's really close, man.
I'm impressed so far.
Did they DH him at all for that one that he did with the dog? That movie? I don't know. I'm trying to remember. Is this the first time that they've really dived into de-aging him? Because I'm wondering if they kind of use some tech from a different movie he did. I'm trying to remember if they
I can't remember if they did anything in like the Skywalker or maybe the Star Wars movies, if they ever did any. I can't remember if they definitely did it obviously with Luke, but
but
yeah, I'm not sure with this, but I will say outside of that, the cast also looks. I mean, you got Mads Mikkelsen, which I love from Hannibal. He's involved. I'm gonna assume he's a villain in this, and then Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
Yeah, so yeah.
No longer Shia LaBeouf taking the mantle, but maybe Phoebe Waller-Bridge, the goddaughter, I guess, of Harrison Ford.
Okay.
I mean, I'll take it. That's a nice little addition there to the world. But all right, so those are our 3 films we're gonna be maybe checking out next year. A lot to look forward to in 2023. Before we get there, though, we have to finish up November, and we have quite a few quick checks we're gonna run through here. So, John. All right. I didn't hear it on my end, so I'm hoping it worked through. It worked through? Okay. All right. I trust you on that. Kyle, let me start off with your quick check. You saw a movie in theaters.
Yeah, I did. I saw Black Panther. I liked it. I thought it was, I'm not a huge Marvel fan, but I thought it was really well done. I really liked the villain in it, who plays in Narcos. I'm forgetting his name. I don't know who it is, but he does a really good job. It's kind of I don't know nothing about
Marvel
like any of this world or anything, but it seemed like it was a natural progression of like where the story goes, because it's always like with all these Marvel films, it's always like they're fighting some people on Earth, and then it eventually goes outward from there, because there's only so many like things that can beat them. So instead they went to like this world that was very similar to Wakanda, and it was just interesting what they did. So I liked it. I was down with it. It felt a little long. That would be my only probably complaint, but I'm down with the Black Panther.
Yeah, so I gotta ask you because
you have like Letitia Wright taking over.
Well, there we go. That's the question here.
So yeah, Letitia Wright takes over that whole.
How did she do? How did we mourn the death of
I mean, it was very sad.
Yeah.
It was really pretty sad at points, and they do honor him at multiple points in the film. But it's done like in a proper way. Like it feels natural and it feels a part of the film. It feels like you're mourning.
So they did it.
Again, it's weird. Yeah, it's weird. It feels so to me. They really nailed it. But yeah, Letitia Wright. And I remember when there was the whole thing with the vaccine and all that was going down. I was like, why is it such a big deal? And she's like literally the entire movie. So it makes sense.
I think that was the issue where like with the death of obviously Chadwick Boseman, it's like who's taking up the reins here, and like I think like when you look at names, it's like, well, Michael B. Jordan's not there. Daniel Kaluuya stepped out of this because of he wanted to do Nope. So it's like, well, who's our to go back to the Mario thing, who's our name?
Yeah.
So it's like she's our new star.
Yep.
So yeah, it's set up well for a third. I'm sure we're gonna get a third here at some point.
Yeah. I think that I think they set themselves up. Yeah.
So you recommend it as a non-Marvel super fan?
Good. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, I'm gonna jump over to Netflix for mine, and I'm gonna talk about a series that probably should have been a movie, and that is Pepsi Where's My Jet? And now this is a 4-episode mini series, and it's about a 20-year-old attempting to win a fighter jet in a Pepsi sweepstakes, and it then ends up setting the stage for a David versus Goliath court battle that's one for the history books here. And to bring up the story, if you're unfamiliar with it a little bit here, in the 90s there was this commercial where it's like, for X amount of points you can get free stuff from Pepsi, like, and there was a commercial where it starts off and it's like, oh, he has a pair of sunglasses, 150 points for the sunglasses, 1,000 points for the leather jacket. And then at the very end, it was like 7 million points, Harrier jet. And it's like, oh, like obviously tongue in cheek there, but this individual saw this ad. He's like, I want this jet, and they calculated what it would be to get the jet. It's like, well, this jet's 32 million. He finds a loophole that like, well, you can buy the points outright for 10 cents a point or something like that. So they figured it out. And it's like, okay, so for $700,000, I can get a $32 million jet. There's no disclaimer in this ad. So, we get this little story here. And I will say it's a very interesting story, but it doesn't need to be this long. I mean, it's probably just over 2 hours over these 4 episodes, but we probably could have made it hour and a half, maybe even hour 15. There was a lot of stuff that felt like repetitive. We show the ad like 3,000 times, and they have the Pepsi execs always saying, yeah, it was just a joke. We didn't even think it was real. It was a joke. It's like, I think this is my assumption. This is completely my BS assumption here. I bet this was originally a doc, and that they cut it into parts to make it seem more like bingeable for the Netflix audience. They love the binge, the mini series. It's like, okay, well, instead of watching this 2.5-hour doc, how about 4, 35-minute episodes? You're like, oh, okay, that sounds good. With that being said, there is some good like cliffhangers at each episode that makes you want to keep going in the binge. It ends episode 2 or 3, I can't remember which one, with a figure that's very relevant now. It was also especially relevant in like 2016, 2017. And you're like, wait, he's involved with this case? I'm going to leave it at that. I'll let you guys watch it and find out the name. But I will say, then they kind of rely a bit too much on him to like, and the shock of him being involved to keep the story going. And it's like, all right, like we get it. He's a controversial figure, but like he doesn't need to be in like the focus now of the last 2 episodes, even though he is a part of the story. But I'll leave it at that. It was a fun little binge, but then, I don't know if it needs to be as long as it was. And, so that is Pepsi. Where's My Jet? John, you have a game with probably some jets and stuff going on.
Yeah. So I've been playing, this is a mouthful, Call of Duty Warzone 2.0, which has a mode called DMZ. It's a PvPvE, which is player versus environment. So not only are you playing against other people with your team, but there are also computer players as well, which is a little bit of a divergence from normal Warzone where it's all PvP. And you're on the same map as their main PvP mode, their main Battle Royale mode. However, sprinkled around are, like I said, computer enemies. Most of the encounters you get are computer enemies. And there's a bunch of strongholds you can go raid. There's some like small missions you can do. There are objectives from different factions that you can choose to, do. You choose them before you go in. And it's been fun because it's still a co-op game. It's still player versus player, but my biggest gripe with their normal Battle Royale mode is the skill ceiling or the skill floor, whatever you want to call it, gets so high that unless you're really good at the game, you're pretty much getting knocked out quickly. Whereas this, you're playing against computers most of the time. There are other players that you can encounter, but most of the stuff is against computers, and they're in general a little bit easier. Now they can scale and they can be pretty hard, so it's not a gimme, but it's nice to be able to like get in and play and do a couple things before actually either exfilling and getting out of there or getting killed. So I've really been enjoying that. My first game, we had some pretty clutch moments where somebody went down underwater and died, and I was able to revive them with like barely a breath left, and we were able to run to a helicopter, which was about to be engulfed in like the poisonous fog that like ends, that it starts to close in and finishes the level and makes everybody kind of forces them get together. So it was a very intense game, and it was a lot of fun, and I've been having some fun playing it. So if you're into Call of Duty and you're into the PvP and the co-op stuff, that's not a bad one to try out. It's kind of interesting. When you exfil with items, you get to bring them into your next match. If you are eliminated, you kind of lose those items, and you have to rely on what you have in your stash or be given just random, beginner kind of items and build your way back up. So it's very interesting. I've been enjoying playing it.
Interesting.
I
All right.
love Call of Duty and stuff like that. I just know my brain, and I just can't do it. I will be addicted. I will be playing it for hours on end. I won't be able to stop. I just know that I need to.
It's pretty good. If you get into it, let me know, because there is crossplay. We can start.
Okay.
Uh-oh. Well, all right. So we went through it once here. Before we go kind of around the horn again, I'm going to throw some ones that our listeners on Instagram said of what they're catching up on, what they've been watching. If we have anyone in the chat, I saw Wazaka and We're Duckies in there. If they want to say what they were watching in November, we could shout that out too. But let's hear. Kayuka Becky said she was watching Bachelor in Paradise and Survivor. Both are good, but then also was watching the FIFA World Cup. Kyle, have you been doing the
I've
World
been
Cup
watching it during my job.
Don't say that on the air.
I have not been doing that. I've been
We're
having it
live.
on in the background while they do stuff. So yes, I have been keeping up with it. Because it's exciting, even though it's made from blood money. I hate to say it, but it is exciting. I like watching. Too bad the US is out. Boo.
Oh, well, let's see. John Journeys wrote, this one was a little confusing to me. All right. Bleach Killer. And at first I was like, is this a some
threat?
Netflix series that was like the Bleach Killer? And I'm like, no, that's not it. And then I found that Bleach is a Japanese anime series.
Okay.
That ran from 2004 to 2012 about a high school student who has the ability to see ghosts, gains Soul Reaper powers, and sets out to save the world. So I'm guessing that the show Bleach is killer. That's what I'm guessing that Instagram comment was.
Okay.
Or maybe it's a new one, because Wazaka is saying I love the new Bleach in the chat. So maybe it's an updated, maybe it's a reboot of this series.
Maybe they're still making them. I don't even know. I mean, I've heard of Bleach, but I've never watched it. So they could very well be making new episodes of the same series,
Okay. Well, all right, let's go through it again here. We got 3 more quick checks to get through. I'm going to talk about Atlanta, because it had the series finale. It was all a dream on November 10th. Now, we had 2 seasons this year. And after a trip to Europe, we're back in Atlanta with our main cast. And I know Kyle has seen it too, so we'll get your thoughts on that, the finale and the season as a whole. I will say I think I really enjoyed this season over season 3. I was glad to be back with all of them. This felt like Atlanta, just the vibe of each episode. You got secret passageways and a Tyler Perry lampoon episode.
That was
a serial
wild.
killer that was trekking down people who made the Crank That videos that Soldier Boy did back, in the day. There was a thick Judge Judy. There was a lot going on here in this final season. There's some very strong episodes. What did you think about the season as a whole, Kyle?
I liked it. I mean, we had the thing with Paperboy and the farm. That was wild too. So a lot of wild moments. Overall, I did like it much more than last season. Just some wild moments, and moments that made me think for a few days afterwards. What was it going for here?
There was the full documentary parody about the making of a Goofy movie.
Oh yeah,
which I love the Goofy movie as a kid, and not many people I feel like remember it or talk about it. And then there's a whole fake doc about it for this episode, and I'm just surprised Disney and FX allowed that much to be done about their fake history. But there's definitely it's such a smart show. I mean, between even that episode where it's kind of, there's obviously nods to Glover's own career and his unexpected rise, just like the CEO was in that episode. And even in the finale where it's they're at a fancy kind of different sushi type restaurant, next to a fast food Popeyes, and it's like, well, folks, which one are they going to go with? The maybe the more artsy one to support that, this group, or are you going to go with the one you're more, the popular and easy choice?
Yeah.
And that's probably like his show versus other shows. So there's a lot going on, a lot that he's saying here. I will say maybe not as strong as other seasons. I think season 2 is still my favorite. I mean, that season, you have something like Teddy Perkins, and in this season, Glover is, putting on the prosthetics again to play Mr. Chocolate and all these other characters and stuff. But it just, while very good, it's hard to hit those heights because those heights are so high.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, real quick, the very end here. I guess spoilers for the finale of Atlanta. Was it all a dream? See, we don't get to see what Darius sees on the TV if Judge Judy is thick or not in the final shot. But what do you think? I mean, does it matter? Because it's like all 4 of them are together. They're happy. It's all good, I guess.
So what? Are we saying the entire show was a dream?
Maybe. I mean, this guy had a quick rise to fame. Everything seems to work out for all them. They get into some wacky hijinks.
Yeah.
Darius, I think, seems to think that he's in a simulation because right before this, he's punching folks at the sushi place. They're getting into the car in a joyride. Like, a lot's going on. So
yeah. Dude, I don't know. I just yeah. I don't know. I don't.
It's probably one of those things.
I
want
to believe that
like,
they actually made it. That's what I want.
Okay,
but they definitely throw you off with the multiple like slips through the water. They get you with that one.
It was a very well directed episode.
Yeah, it was really good.
So yeah, Atlanta. That's a wrap on that. Let's see, Kyle, you have another show that's going on right now. It's on Netflix.
Oh, yeah.
Where are you watching that?
I'm watching The Crown, I guess. I made it through 2 episodes.
Glowing review. I can see that on the poster.
Yeah, I mean, I've been through 2 episodes, and I think I've gotten to the point with the show where it's like, what does it all mean? I mean, through the storyline, they're trying to give meaning to the crown. It's like, do these people even mean anything anymore? It's like we're trying to give it more credence and more purpose than it really has. The only thing that really came out of these, Princess Diana and Prince Charles like fighting in that whole situation. That's the biggest moment, I think, from this part of whatever is happening with the Queen of England, So as far as the show, the production values are always phenomenal. The direction is always really great. But now I'm just seeing like very intense coat hanging, and I'm like, okay, like they've got some like deep music behind it, and she's like ruffling it. I'm like, okay, I don't need to. Do we have to keep doing this?
It's getting to the end. You're putting away your clothes. You're putting away your legacy.
But the music behind it is like swelling, and like you get this cinematic carriage ride to signify Philip's like newfound relationship with it's like, can we not? Can we go back to Princess Diana and Prince Charles yelling at each other?
Now, this is the last time that they're replacing the actors in between seasons. What do you think, in general, of this new batch of actors now that you've seen them in some episodes?
Well, I was worried that I was just going to see this lady as Mrs. Umbridge. But luckily, she's good enough actress to, to make it, her own kind of thing. And I think she's doing a good job. I think all the actors are doing like a really great job. They put Dominic West in as Prince Charles, which I didn't know if that was like believable for me, especially after the actor before was so frail, like a young Prince Charles. So it's just, it was, I don't know, weird choice to me, but I think everyone's doing a great job, and I think that's one of the pros of the show is the acting and the production.
Awesome. All right, so that's The Crown season 5. John,
Mhm.
not too much time, but what is your final quick check tonight?
That's all good. I'll make it quick. It's another game. It's called Trombone Champ. This came out several months ago. Yeah, you know it?
Yes, I did. I think
Kyle
I sent
is
a
the
text.
trombone champ.
No, I sent a text that said, "John, you have to review this."
Oh,
Is
right.
this the one with the
yeah.
where it's like
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I did play it. When it came out, my first thought was, why not? Why doesn't somebody make a trombone that can do this and play
Yeah.
it with a real trombone? So I bought a trombone and I wired it up and I actually played Trombone Champ with a trombone.
Wow.
It uses a time of flight sensor to measure how far away the slide is, really your hand, but your hand's on the slide, from home position. There is a button on the back as well as a pressure sensor, so you can either blow into the horn or you can push the trumpet-shaped button.
This is wild,
Yeah,
dude.
and so you can play Trombone Champ with a trombone.
But John, if you don't hit the correct note, will you die?
No,
In
you
real
no, you
life.
don't die. You just get
Okay.
embarrassed on the internet like I did.
Okay.
I streamed this a couple weeks ago, I think 2 weeks ago, where I played through a whole bunch of songs using this device. I 3D modeled a piece of plastic which I printed to hold all the electronics, and yeah, I had a good time building it, and it sort of works. It's hard to play. It's a lot harder to play than with the mouse because I tried both, and it's a lot easier with the mouse. But you know, for the novelty of it, it was fun to do. You know, so
Very cool. Well, look at that.
That's really cool, dude. I'm impressed that you were able to make that. That seems like MacGyver like
Yeah.
stuff.
yeah, a little bit. You can see it's. If you look at the stream, you can see it's a little hodgepodge, but you know it worked. I got through the stream. It's sitting over in my corner over there. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know what I'm gonna do with the trombone. I mean, I bought a 4 parts trombone that didn't work, and had to fix parts of it in order to get the slide to move and all that. But it's maybe a good conversation piece. Maybe mount it on the wall somewhere or something. You know.
Wow.
Is the game fun though? Because
Yeah.
it seems like fun when you mess up. It sounds cool.
Yeah, it sounds funny. It is fun. I think I didn't really delve. There's a lot deeper than I dove. I just played it for fun. There's a whole, I don't know, story mode or something to do with baboons. I don't know because I didn't play it. Yes, it sounds weird. I haven't played it that deep. I just kind of downloaded a bunch of custom songs so you can make your own and all that, and played that just to entertain people. As part of a small charity stream. So there's more to it. I think I eventually will check it out. But yeah, like I said, just had that thought. It got in my head. It was like, I can do that. I'll do that. And so
Yeah.
I did some research and I prototyped it. And I think I have the prototype. Part of the prototype. I disassembled it. I've been working on it for a while. So I have bits and pieces everywhere. And
Wow. So
That's cool.
sounds like John has quite a bit of free time on his hands. Maybe I should give him more work to do.
no.
More work for the podcast. I think that means I can give him more projects to make instead of playing around on Trombone Champ. But all right, no, that's very cool. But that's it for tonight. That's all we got. We have 2 shows left for the rest of the year. Next week, The White Lotus season 2. We're going to talk about the big finale next week, the day after it drops. So join us next Monday for that. And then after that, it's our annual yearly wind down special. And like every year, we need your votes. This is where we ask you what were your favorite movies, TV shows, and pop culture moments of the past year. You can now vote in this survey, which you can find on our social media platforms, on our Linktree page. So you can vote in that survey to help us with that final podcast of the year. One other thing we're going to be doing in December is a little holiday stunt. We're going to be restreaming some of our favorite holiday movie recaps to get you in the holiday spirit. We're going to do those on Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern. and we'll try to monitor the Twitch chat to watch along and comment along with you guys in this re-air. And our first one we're going to do tomorrow night is, well, it's Turbo Time, Jingle All the Way. We're going to do that tomorrow night, and then every Tuesday in December for the next couple weeks. We're going to do some holiday movie re-airs here. So a lot going on in the month of December. Make sure you never miss an episode by going to YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, the blog, dualredundancy.com. Of course, twitch.tv/dualredundancy, Mondays, 8 p.m. Eastern for the regular show, Tuesday night, 7 p.m. for the holiday streams in December. And then there's Twitter and Instagram at Dual Redundancy. And I got to thank both you guys for joining me tonight. John directing the show, getting it up on all of our platforms, and for everyone joining us in the chat tonight. I saw 3 or 4 names, but the ones I'm seeing right now are Wadzaka and We're Ducky. Yeah, so fun night. Can't wait to do it again next week. But until next time, I'm David Allen.
I'm John Berwick.
And I'm Kyle Bridger.
And that's all we got for Dual Redundancy. Goodbye, everybody.